Good evening, Orioles. Welcome to our April Board of Education meeting.
That's up here. All right, awesome. All right, we are back. So our next item, first, we're just going to read the board mission statement and agreements, and then we'll get into our agenda.
All right, so our mission statement is we will develop policy that is representative of our community, set goals, and lead our district by collaborating. And our beliefs are stand up and own it. So that individual belief of owning what we share and say and make and model that within the work that we're part of. Our second belief is we are one, so we can't do it alone. We need each other to best move ourselves forward. And then always that courage to grow because we're always learning and continuously getting better together.
So thanks, Sharon. Our next item is consent agenda, and there's 3 items on that for today. Approval of our regular board meeting minutes from March 18th, 2024. Approval of our special board meeting minutes from April 8th, 2024. And then the treasurer's report that was attached within our board packets. So just looking for a motion to approve our consent agenda for this month.
So moved.
Second.
All right, then Terry, roll call when you're ready.
All right. Matthew?
Yes.
Huck?
Yes.
Keckerman?
Yes.
Yeager? Yes.
Awesome. We're gonna pivot for a second, and we've got a big room here today, and we've got lots of folks ready to share their successes with us. So we're gonna go to the state solo ensemble members, and I don't know who I'm turning it to because I'm off agenda, but turn it to whoever.
All right, I guess I will start. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Julie Legri. I am the high school band director here in North Fond du Lac, and we have our woodwind ensemble here to perform for you. We had a really great solo ensemble way back at the beginning of March. This coming Saturday, we will be performing at the State Solo and Ensemble Festival at UW Oshkosh. So I'm going to share with you the students who qualified for state and will be performing on Saturday. Our flute choir qualified for state, including Samantha Butchley, Danielle Gustafson, Travis Kalogo, Brenna Stile, Ella Stile, and Kaylin Wilson. Jazz band qualified for state, which was really exciting because they haven't qualified for state since 2018, which was before me. So really exciting moment with Javier Carvajal, Dakota Chancellor, Olivia Garcia, Tony Hallowell, Travis Kalogo, Jose Mondragon, Damian Ramirez, Haley Schultz, Austin Silcock, Brenna Stile, James Taschendorf, Amelia Vadness, and Romeo Vera. And then Woodwind Ensemble, which we have here, including Kennedy Balthazar, Samantha Butchley, Amberly Clark, Olivia Garcia, Danielle Gustafson, Megan Hall, Victoria Kalogo, Violet Lang, Allison Martin, Adler Meyer, Parker McCarthy, Haley Schultz, Alexander Scar, Brenna Stile, Ella Stile, Reese Stile, James Taschendorf, Abby Wagner, and Kaylin Wilson. And then we had 2 soloists qualified for state, which is Travis Kalogo on trombone and James Taschendorf on bari sax. So a lot. So we will have our woodwind ensemble. We are playing a 4-movement piece, but for you today, we are going to play the 1st, 3rd, and 4th movement of Handel's Suite from Water Music.
In addition to the instrumentalists that performed well, we had some really good vocalists as well. Standing back, I should say. Zach Lewick made it state. We also have senior Tobias Robin, and they'll be performing in a moment. But for the first time in 12 years, we had a middle school student vocalist make state solo ensemble from Bestial Middle School, 8th grader Noble Lopnow. So definitely want to rock that. Those three individuals will be performing, and you're going to hear a taste of a different language this evening as well. So I'll let Tobias introduce their song.
Hi, I'm Tobias Robin. My piece is Isiba, is a French piece. I don't remember who it was composed by. Sorry.
Foray.
Hooray, that's it. Very complicated French word. I'm not good at French. And his piece is about celebrating just the joy of life and life itself.
honors. The Flyway Conference has always typically done a vocal weekend of solo ensemble and then followed by an instrumental weekend of solo ensemble. However, this past March, it was combined for at least as long as I've been here in the conference. So we had multiple different audiences, which I thought was neat, that some vocalists were able to see some instrumental performances from instrumentalists to watch our show choir perform and other opportunities that they otherwise could not have made. So I think that's pretty unique and pretty nice to have that support. In addition to WSMA's Solo Ensemble Festival, there's also a unique opportunity called the Honors Project. And the State Honors Project encompasses statewide auditions separate from solo ensemble. Instead of getting critique back from a judge on how you perform, there's really no critique. You audition to be part of the select group. The groups range from an orchestra, a jazz band, a treble choir, and a mixed choir. I think I have all of them, right?
Band, orchestra, yeah.
Yeah, and about 1,600 auditions take place each year for about 400 slots, and those slots encompass all those groups. So 100 singers in the treble choir, 100 singers in the mixed choir as well. And we had for the third consecutive year a tenor make that illustrious group, and he is standing back there, Mr. Zach Lewick. Congratulations, Zach. The second student to overall make it 3 years in a row, following Andriana Meadows back in 2014 through 2016. So an esteemed group. So congratulations, Zach, and looking forward to the summer camp, which they'll go to UW Eau Claire and work on music for 4 days, and then at the music convention in October, part of that group. And then he promotes not only the school district, but his community, his family, and most importantly, just the wonderful person that he is when he performs music, especially. So congrats, Zach, and way to go. Other than that, we're looking forward to bring those talents and to recognize those individuals, both instrumental and vocal, this weekend at Solo Ensemble. So we'll post the results as they happen. Unlike district, where if you get a star first, there's no star opportunity for Solo Ensemble. It's the state level. However, every one that is scored has a possibility to get an exemplary performance selection, and that's determined the Tuesday after. So we won't know if a student or an ensemble gets a one, if it's exemplary or not, until the Tuesday following. But more to come, and we'll certainly pass along that information to you as it becomes available to us.
Well, thank you, and you're always welcome back. So anytime, this has been great so far. I don't know if anyone had any questions?
Following Solo Ensemble, do we want to do a little shameless plug for this Wednesday?
Yeah, this Wednesday is the 36th annual Jazz Chili Supper. So if you want to hear more music, different time period. We're not really in the classical Baroque, but we'll be going into jazz and, the 1930s. Feel free to stop by. You don't have to stay and eat chili, but you are welcome to enjoy the fellowship. Otherwise, you can just come and listen.
Awesome. And then the week after Solo Ensemble is our 36th annual Choral Cabaret, where we see students, 9 through 12, showcase their talents vocally and otherwise on the stage. Striza concert the day before graduation, so we're ready to rock and roll with the month of May. Middle school concert, middle school band performance, middle school play upcoming. So May has no rest for the weary. So we're happy to showcase all the students' talents and wonderful music offerings that we are able to do.
And to
segue into.
I was going to prolong the musical announcement.
Oh, yes.
Because there were students involved in music, as well as some other students that are here that were involved in the state forensics tournament this past weekend. So if you don't mind, do I just sidetrack there? So we had, I think, 11 students from our team qualify for state. Earning a bronze medal was Dakota Chancellor. Her category was Moments in History. A silver medal in prose was Ella Getch. Abraham Maurer in radio. Jose Mondragon in play acting. Jaden Pickett in prose. Tobias Robin in oratory. Austin Silcock in play acting. And James Teschendorf in play acting. And there were 3 students who earned a perfect score of 25, earning a gold medal, including Kamaya Markovsky, where she wrote her own very beautiful poetry, apparently made the entire room cry, which that's really impressive that she could do that with her words. Brooke Peterson in impromptu speaking, that is where you get a topic and you have 5 minutes to think and give the speech. So that's pretty impressive. And Lizzie Schneider in poetry.
So two of our co-directors could not make it tonight, but they, are excited to bring this to our 11th annual fall musical. This is Catherine Ahrens, one of our musical directors. This is Krista Klonderman, our technical director. So they are excited to bring this as well. Coming 2024, November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, our 11th annual musical is going to be, drum roll, big save, is going to be
Your Good
Man
Charlie
Brown. We're excited to bring that to the stage November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 2024. Auditions will be open to any student in the school district on that first day of school, August 28th. More information to come as it ends this school year.
Well, thank you, everyone, for being here and the support from families too. This is the fine arts, and having opportunities for our students in this district are so essential. Again, it takes you places, and it's just an amazing gift that we can give and, keep living. So I appreciate you all being here tonight and sharing that. And again, thank you for all that you give back, and keep being part of these things. They take you to many great places too as well. So enjoy the moment, enjoy the music, and it was brilliant tonight. So appreciate y'all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You're all welcome to stay too. Or you're welcome to leave. It's up to you. No one stays.
We have to stay.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a little Linus. That was all I got.
Well, we can have your voice again.
Yeah, I can do that for sure. Yeah.
Thank you for letting me share.
Oh, great job. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That wants to become the bird.
All right.
How are you guys?
And great agenda. All right.
And port of office.
Calm down for a second.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move to our next agenda item, which is our oath of office. So I'll turn it over to you.
So at this time, we are going to, bring in through our April election and two, outstanding, amazing individuals back to our board, and we're gonna go through the oath of office right now as part of the ceremonial process to indoctrinate them back in for their next term. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read, and they're gonna respond back for the official oath. And I don't know if you raise your right hand, okay? If you please raise your right hand at this time. So I'm gonna say I. State your name.
Steve Hawk. Rick Matthew.
Having been elected to the office of
Having been elected to the office of.
the Board of Education,
For the first time.
First time.
but have not yet entered upon the duties
But have not yet entered upon the duties.
thereof, swear
Thereof swear.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
And the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin.
and will faithfully discharge
And will faithfully discharge
the duties of said office
the duties of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, well, thank you, Rick and Steve. Appreciate your continued service to the community and the district. Our next item is going to be our board office selection process. So this is the time each year we get to appoint the positions on the board. So the process is I'll share the board, look for a nomination or recommendation for that seat on the board, and then we'll continue through the 4 positions that we have. So the first one is for the seat of president. I would look for a recommendation for that role.
I'll nominate John.
Thank you.
Jonathan Geckerman.
Yeah, John, thank you, full name. And then also look for a second recommendation if there is another recommendation for a different name to add. All right, and then final call, third recommendation, if there's another recommendation someone would like to add. Put my trainer hat on there for 7-second pause. All right, we'll then look for a vote. All in favor of Jonathan Geckerman being the board president for this year. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone not in favor say nay. All right, that passed for board presidency. So thank you all. Appreciate it. All right, our next item is for vice president role. Similar, we'll look for a motion or name to have the vice president role for this year. And I'll nominate Stephen Hawk for that position. And then next will be if there's a second name that someone would like to nominate for vice president role. Okay, and then our final, third and final nomination time. Someone would like to nominate anyone else for the vice president role. All right, I didn't hear anything else, so all in favor of Stephen Hawk being vice president of the North Fond du Lac School Board, say aye. Aye. And anyone not in favor of that, please say nay. All right, we are all set. Thank you, Steve. All right, next we will go to the treasurer seat. Looking for a recommendation for the treasurer seat for the school board of North Fond du Lac.
I'll nominate Terry Yeager. Give him the clerk.
Oh,
Or
treasurer.
I'm sorry.
Treasurer, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, we got one on the clerk already.
I'll nominate Rick Matthew for treasurer.
All right. And then if there is a second nomination for the treasurer seat, now would be the time to issue that name. All right, and then third and final call for the additional name for the treasurer seat. All right, excellent. Look for all in favor of Rick Matthew being the treasurer of the North Fond du Lac School Board, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say nay. Excellent, carried. So Rick Matthew, congratulations. All right, then our final position is our clerk position for the North Fond du Lac School Board. Once again, looking for an opportunity to share a name if someone would be interested in that or nominate someone.
I'll nominate Terry Yeager.
Thank you. And I'll pause to see if there is a second nomination or second name that would like to be shared for the clerk position of the North Fond du Lac School Board. All right, and then a third or final opportunity for someone to suggest a name for the North Fond du Lac School Board for the clerk position. Awesome. All right, well then we'll look for all in favor of Terry Yeager being the clerk of the North Fond du Lac School Board, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed, please say nay. Excellent. Congratulations, Terry. All right, we have successfully filled all seats, and thank you all for going through that process. Our next item is board member share moment of pride. So I'm gonna start with Terry this time. You're always going last the last few times, so you get the opportunity to start us off.
So last Tuesday, I was able to make it out to the competition fields, and was able to witness the high school softball team playing for a brief time, and the high school baseball team playing. And I was also able to make it out to the middle school track meet, all at the same time. So it was good to bounce around and get to see all the participants, and it's great to see the number of kids that were all participating in that. So the parking lots were full, and that was also good to see a lot of support for them. So
Awesome. You like to go next?
Yes, I was invited again to be a member of the staff scholarship committee, I guess, to decide the district scholarships that are going to be awarded to students at the upcoming honors night. And that always is an excellent opportunity to see the successes and see the quality of the kids that we are have going through here in North Fond du Lac. So, but nice scholarships, nice awards, and great candidates that'll be awarded at the meeting, or, the honor night.
Nice. Do we know when honors night is? Is it
I have it somewhere. It's in May.
in May? Gotcha. I'm good. If we don't have the official date, maybe we can get that out. That'd be awesome.
Yep.
Cool. Thanks, Steve.
May 15th.
May 15th? All right, thank you.
I'd love to.
There you go.
A few of us got to attend the groundbreaking at the Trafford Way. They broke ground for the new playground. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Tiffany and her team and the board over at Trafford Way. They've done just an amazing fundraising job. They're close to their goal of $250,000, which is an amazing thing to accomplish, and that playground's going to be awesome. So the ceremony was great. It's exciting to get that kicked off.
Awesome. And I had Trafford Way as well. I think May 9th is ribbon cutting coming up, so.
Our galleries beforehand, if you want to come see the student work, it's 5:30 to 6:30.
Yes, there you go. So 5:30, be there at 5:30.
Yes.
That's what time it's saying. Awesome. No, I agree though. I thought it was a great experience and looking forward to that final touch that you all have worked really hard on. And then also just for the community supporters, I know we had prom, so post prom went on, and it takes a lot of folks to make that happen. And just sorry for stealing your thunder there, Abe, because I think you're gonna talk about it, but I heard a lot of great things about that, and it's just cool that not only does the community support that, but it gives the place for the kids to go after. So, alrighty. All right, student council time.
Oh, boy.
All right, take us away.
So before I get anything going, I know you guys, it's not your first rodeo, so obviously you can probably guess what's going on here, but I'd like to introduce next year's student council president, Luis Garcia. I look forward to seeing him build on what we have built. And I know I set the bar very high for him, but I look forward to him passing it and setting some new ground for him. Not a lot to talk about, really, kind of wrapping a lot of things up. But first, National Honor Society. National Honor Society held their banquet the day after prom. It doesn't seem like a lot until that post-prom hits. But that was Sunday, April 14th. And they inducted 24 new members, 23 sophomores and 1 junior. That's an amazing number. And then the NHS officers have also been announced. So President Sophia Adelmeyer, Vice President Bradley Keenan, Secretary Ella Humpner, and Treasurer Nish Patel will be your 2024-2025 NHS officers.
And for our 2024-2025 student council officers, they also have been announced. President, myself, Luis Garcia, Vice President, Brianna Dalkey, Secretary Violet Hughes, and Treasurer Lady Ovando.
And then Miss Leitery stole my thunder too. Forensics competed last Friday. It was a very fun day. We got to leave school a little early, tour State Street for 3 hours and 45 minutes. But it was very fun. Got to try some food and go shop a little bit. And then we competed at DeForest High School, which is huge. It took me a while to find all my area. So, but like Miss Leitery said, our team came home with 3 golds, 7 silvers, and 1 bronze. So very, very successful night.
And as mentioned before, prom was held at Whispering Springs, and post-prom was at the local YMCA. With the help of the amazing volunteers, it was an amazing and fun night.
That's all we got for you. Thanks for your time. And I look forward to Luis shedding some new light, probably being a little funnier, and definitely being more informative. So,
Well, we're purposely moving the board meeting up, or we're taking motion today to move the board meeting up. You have to come back one more time. So one more before graduation.
Nice. I look forward to it. That's okay.
No, thank you all. Any questions?
And we did our job.
There you go. Nice work.
Thank you.
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Well, congratulations, Steve.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good to see you. Nice work. Good job. Congratulations. Abe, thanks for setting the bar.
It's not very high.
That's all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next item is clerk's report.
All right, so for donations this month, for Backpack Buddies, Wayne and Janice Shingen donated $50, and Denise Geishenbrooks $75 to Backpack Buddies. The Trefford Way Playground, Michaels Corporation donated $10,000 to the Trefford Way Playground. Post Prom, Air Tech Heating donated $500. And lastly, the softball and baseball scores booths. The Fond du Lac Area Foundation with Dr. Thomas and Suzanne Zock donated $5,000, and Mark Cardinal Concrete Construction donated $1,500.
Nice.
And that's all I have for the clerk's report.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Kelly. Our next item is citizens' comments. So it's an opportunity for anyone that would like to share comment. Don't think we have anyone in the room, but I'll pause for a second. All right, we'll move on to the next item. So that's all you, man.
All right, great. Just so everyone knows, when we walk through the superintendent's report, we're doing it from the lens of our strategic plan, our core areas. The first, we're going to talk about tonight's financial and operations, then we have safe and emotional healthy schools, we have learning and academics, and then finally engagement and communication. So we're really trying to show that the strategic plan is not just something that's sitting on a shelf somewhere. It's actually, we're going through that, we're hitting key performance indicators. And when we walk through things and items here, there are action steps to make that happen. So we're gonna start out with financial operations, and we're inviting USI and Alex come on back in and share a little bit of update where we're at right now.
Thank you. Good evening. Good to see everyone again. Last time I was here about a month ago, we spent a brief time on some introductions, but then we also talked about pharmacy and how that's been an outlier with the district for a lot of years. So we did go out to the market and we came back with a proposal from a company called Smith RX. They're an independent pharmacy benefit manager, or what you'll hear me call PBM. Sorry, we use a lot of acronyms. So PBM. And what makes them unique in the marketplace is that they're truly fully transparent. And what we are looking to do is implement some of their programs that they have in place to reduce our overall spend. And there's about 12 different areas that we can choose to pull levers, if you will, to bring those savings down. And after an initial analysis, we're projecting an annualized savings of roughly $450,000 to the district, which is about 10% of your overall healthcare spend. Given the financial impact that this may have, not only long-term, but in the short term, we are proposing doing something a little bit unique, which would be to implement this off anniversary date. So your anniversary date for your health plan is a January 1st. We would look to get this started at September 1st. So kind of as teachers come back to school, I know it's a busy time of the year, but given the financial impact, we thought it was too great to pass up. So that's what we're here to do, to discuss. And with that, I'm going to pause, see if there's any questions.
Is it just the pharmacy?
That's just the pharmacy. It would not change the medical providers, the network, anything like that. This is just how your staff and their families procure prescription drugs.
All right. What was the amount again? Did you say?
$450,000 on an annual basis.
So what would the process look like if we changed it on that date? What would the impact?
We would start communication immediately because a lot of people are going to be impacted just from the standpoint they're going to get new ID cards. So it's going to be a change. And I know we all just went through a change on January 1st. We're well aware of that. We don't take this lightly. So we would want to get back out in front of your staff before they leave for the summer. We would do brain shark drip campaigns, email blasts with little short videos talking about the changes, making sure they understand it, how to interact with Smith RX if they receive a letter that their prescription drugs are either going to change or that they're going to be enrolled in one of these programs that's going to help them save money in the long run. So it would be pretty constant communication from here until September 1st. I would also talk with Matt and his team to get back out in front of the district and your employees as they come back to school in August. So pretty constant communication, and there are, a handful of members that we're going to ask to do something different. We're really targeting those very expensive drugs. So luckily it's not a large group of people, but there are members that we're going to ask to either try a different drug or get it through a new avenue to help save cost. So the big thing I want to make clear, because I know change is hard, is we're not going to leave people without care. We're not going to exclude a drug and leave them with no option. We're just going to try different avenues, either different ways to procure the drug or maybe a biosimilar that has the exact same ingredients but is at a much lower cost. So we have to get this under control. It's been a major cost driver for the district for a lot of years, and this is the way that we think we can do it responsibly.
Else, can you talk about like the support that those people, that small number that you're talking about, would receive in that transition, and maybe some more support from?
Yeah, so SmithRx has pharmacists and claims advocates on staff. There would be constant outreach, phone calls with SmithRx employees, as these aren't overseas call centers or anything like that. It would be directly from their staff, walking them through it. And if I am on a medication that's either going to be changed or, I need to try a step therapy program, whatever that may look like, there is a small grace period, either 60 or 90 days, depending on the medication for, okay, I go to the pharmacy on September 8th, right after we switch, I'm going to get that fill. I'm going to get it again in October. However, after those first 2 or 3 fills, we're going to need to kind of force a change. But there is a small grace period to get people up to speed in case, it doesn't happen as quickly as we'd like. So constant communication from both our team, from the SmithRx team, and we want to make this as smooth as possible. And hopefully this is a long-term partner, because I do understand that having just gone through a change from Humana to UMR and from Humana Pharmacy to ProAct it's a lot, but we're hoping that this is a good long-term solution and financially responsible from the district's point of view.
So they go to the same pharmacies they go to?
Yeah, they go to Walgreens, CVS, Costco, all of the major and independent pharmacists are in the network. So we're not excluding or limiting where people can get their medications.
Does Smith do the mail order?
Smith will do the mail order. So if I'm currently getting mail order drug today, it'll have to move. Same with specialty. If I'm getting my, specialty drugs, that will likely change to the SmithRx program. But hopefully once those all switch over again, it'll kind of smooth transition is the goal.
Alex, what happens if the employee's doctor doesn't agree with a change?
So we are going to ask everyone try, right? But if, let's say I have an allergic reaction to an ingredient, or the drug, the biosimilar or the generic version just isn't working, the doctor can write a script and say, nope, this person needs to be on Humira as an example because of these reasons, and they'll be able to continue that drug. What makes SmithRx unique is that, okay, this avenue no longer works because we couldn't get them maybe off of this high cost drug. How can we get that drug now at a much cheaper rate, whether it's through Mark Cuban's Cost Plus program or through a payment assistance program? There's different ways. Like I said, there's almost 12 different programs within this proposal that we can go. And okay, if number 1 doesn't work, let's go down to number 2. If number 2 doesn't work, let's go down to number 3. So, the savings will drop off how far down that list we have to go. However, at least there's something. And again, they're estimating over $450,000 of annual savings. So it's a really good program.
And one other question about co-pays, will be similar in the?
We're not going to change the plan design. So the members, their co-pays will remain they are today. Again, we might just change which drugs they're getting. And again, if their doctor says no, they need to be on this medication, great, let's find a better way to pay for it. And some of these programs, like a payment assistance program, we might be able to get their same drug for no cost. So today, where they may have a copay, that member may be able to get the drug for free. So there's just different ways to go about procuring it, and there's a lot of innovation in pharmacy, and I think we need to take advantage of it.
Other than the new card, what other change would the everyday?
I mean, certain members are going to have to try a new prescription, or resetting up their mail order, or getting their specialty medications through different avenues. So again, the good news is those numbers there are a handful of people that are going to be impacted, but your entire staff will get new ID cards because we're changing pharmacy benefit managers. So that will happen, before September 1st.
There's no like pre-enrollment visit they have to do or any other?
Prior authorization or things like that. If they've already been approved for a prior auth, assuming that drug is already within the program's parameters, that will just continue. Again, if they're taking a certain medication today and we want them to try a viable alternative, they're gonna have to go through that process. So I think the main points to communicate to staff is, one, if we're not going to exclude anything. So if you need care for a condition, you will get it one way or another. We're trying to try some of these new innovative solutions within pharmacy to get the best outcomes for everyone.
Anything else?
So I think the ask is, are we allowed to move forward with this for an effective September 1st date?
I mean, this is something that we recommend that we need to move forward with this, and we've talked about this a little bit in close, so I think that's the direction we need to have. Okay. All right. Anything else at this point? Thank you so much for staying tonight.
Yeah, no, it worked out great. I was in Fond du Lac all afternoon, and thank you for letting me borrow the conference room for another day. So I appreciate it.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Safe travels.
Thanks a lot.
All right, let's get into our share outs from the buildings. And again, I don't know how we want to work this, or we want to go behavior first, then building. You let me know what you want to work this through, and if you want to start with FLC or we want to start different zone. I think it really doesn't matter which way we play it, but just curious what you all want to do tonight. So go ahead.
We go building by building.
Sure.
Just that way you guys don't have to keep disjointing who's talking and whatnot. So,
Okay.
and then I'd love for Lauren to kick us off.
All right, Lauren. Lauren, all right, here we go.
We'll work through, elementary out.
Yeah.
All right. So we are going to touch a little bit on the learning and academics bucket. Our goal this year has been written around the area of math, but we have had a lot of focus the last 2 months on ELA, so I just want to touch on that a little bit. As you know, we've adopted CKLA Amplify for the upcoming school year, so we've had some classrooms who have been really busy piloting and getting those materials and kind of figuring out how they can incorporate that into their current scope and sequence and make that happen within their classrooms. And we've just seen some really great things with student engagement, and overall, I think our teachers are really happy with the tools so far. So that's been one area in that learning and academics bucket that we touched on. The other piece that's kind of written in some of the action goals and different steps is the work of our academic team. So that team meets weekly every single Friday, and that's made up of specialists, grade level teachers, special education. And really the roles and responsibilities of that team is to really look at our process overall. So what I mean by that is we have a lot of students who are receiving intervention, not just by an interventionist, but by teachers who have been willing to get trained in various interventions and give students additional support. So during those weekly meetings, we're talking a little bit about process. We're assisting teams in making sure that we're able to meet all students' needs. So for example, we met with the second grade team and we looked at 2 data points and we figured out how many adults we had to, address the different learning gaps that we were seeing with some of our second grade students. And each student was able to be paired with a teacher who was delivering something specific to what they need. So we're feeling really great about the work that team is doing, and just feeling like every year we get to, I think, serve and meet the needs of more kids, and working really collectively as a team to make that happen. So those are 2 things that have been happening in that space. And then the other area of focus that we've been really looking at is we've been diving into building thinking classrooms. So our last 2 coaching sessions that we've had with Chris Meffert from CISA 6, she has walked our grade level teams through the first 3 chapters of this book. And really what we're looking at is we're still using Bridges as our tool to teach math, but this really gets into that instructional delivery. So for example, getting kids up and out of their seats and working on vertical spaces. So what you might see if you walked into a classroom would be students in groups of 2 or 3 working on a whiteboard, solving, could be non-curricular tasks or mathematical tasks that they're pulling from Bridges. So students are not only collaborating, but they're having to explain their thinking, and other kids are also able to walk around and kind of see how students got different answers. So it's kind of been this rejuvenation in that math space as we're now approaching year 4. And it's just really neat to see the engagement with our kids, and our teachers are, again, really liking it. The big glass walls are being put to use. So our big nano walls that I know sometimes were a criticism by some, students are using that as a vertical space to solve math problems and do some of that thinking. So it's really neat to see the creativity with just the space in our building. So that's really been our focus. And as we shift forward to next school year, we're going to continue with a book study. So we purchased this book for all of our classroom teachers, and we're really going to think about our instruction and student engagement while still using that tool, Bridges in mathematics. And then obviously the changes with ELA, which are very exciting too. So, any questions?
Okay, we shift to behavior?
Yeah,
we good?
behavior.
It's a baby? Okay.
I was smart this time. I didn't take vision this year, so I got on a note card a little bit here. So next year I'm gonna have to take vision. But just looking at FLC's behavior, just some key numbers here in terms of where we're at, what we're doing at this point compared to last year a little bit is, last year we had 69 kiddos out of 640 some with majors. This year we have 62. So total majors right now, we have about 261, which we're down a little bit this year, which is good. So we made some improvements in that area. Minors, like we look at last year, we had 133 kids receive minors out of the 600 some. This year we're down to 98. So we made some improvements from this year from last year. So good things there. You know, a lot of that work revolves around just some of that CPS restorative and just trying to live out some of the cultural playbook a little bit in terms of our events, our response, and our outcomes. And, you know, as we continue to look at what does our work look like in that space, we're trying to make some adjustments on, you know, how our staff can utilize those tools a little bit more. Right now we do have the minors and we fill out this green sheet and it's great, but we just want to really start pinpointing and highlighting some of the things that we are doing to get these behaviors to change. And that's kind of the direction we want to go a little bit more next year, is highlighting our purple sheets, highlighting our restorative, and highlighting possibly our ERO and just how we're going to be doing those things. So we're excited about that next step. And we got a lot of teachers and people in those spaces trying to do a lot of good things in there too. So in terms of attendance, we're at 93.25. That's about where we are. We were there last year too, so right where we needed to be. We had a little bit of a dive around that January, February, March, which is pretty typical for our littles. Speaking of littles, they're our lowest, they're at 92%, but we also had fourth grade and second grade are in that 94%, so they're up there too. So we're just really looking at doing a lot of work in that space. We're at 50 plus attendance plans. I applaud my team for that. There's a lot of work in that goes into that, of emails and letters and communicating and plans and on and on and on and on. And we're just putting a lot of work in that space and trying to build and support families the best that we can. And not trying to, you know, kind of blame and shame or do some of those things, because we're here to help and support. So that's been a process too, and I thank my team for that. Just a little bit further on that, we look at how many 77% of our kids have been in school 90% of the days. That's pretty amazing. 77% of our kids are here 90% of our school days. That's awesome. In that 81 to 89, we have 24% of our kids are in that range. And when we look at our tier 3, where we really start to worry about some of those kids are the kids that are here less than 80% of the time. We're at 3% right now. So definitely a win in that space. It doesn't always feel like that when you're doing a lot of attendance plans and looking at your attendance sheets every day. You're like, holy cow. But we really are doing well in that space, and you know, our kids are showing up. So it's been huge. Any questions?
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it. All right, up next. Trevor, you want to take a shot? Go ahead, yeah.
So I don't have a lot of updated information. We don't have updated test scores yet this round, but similar to Lauren, we will also be adopting the new reading program. So we're going to be bringing our staff over for the training dates that are happening at FLC, and I know we're excited to explore a new tool that we can also use next year. Some of the other things we're looking at doing this quarter, our students who are using the Essential Elements Learning Standards, we're going to try to use that DLM assessment as an alternative measure opposed to STAR. But it got to be too close to actual state testing, so we couldn't have access to it yet. We're hoping that there is time to use it as a data point at the end of the school year, but if not, that's definitely something we now know about that we're excited to try next year with some of our students. Really, our teachers have found a lot of success with those areas that they had focused on from the start of the year. So the teachers are continuing to focus on those areas they dedicated. If you walk by our K-1 classroom, seeing those students and their writing has just grown in the last 3 months, even to see some of the growth and their recognition of letters and reading, just great gains that you can just see as an outsider walking by. So that's been really great to see. We've had a student teacher with us this second semester, and he's been a great addition to our staff, allowed us to break some of our groups into even smaller groups, focusing on the individual needs of our students, and just continuing to look as a school at what intervention looks like at Treffert Way. It's something we've talked a lot about at the academic meetings, working with Adam, talking to other schools and seeing how they kind of run that process. Just trying to look at what could that look like for us next year. So really gonna spend some time this summer diving into that piece too. Any questions?
And your behavior is not in here yet.
Our behavior is not in there yet, but our attendance is at 94.64. So I did look that up for this round.
Thank you, Tiffany. Appreciate it. Mike, you ready to rock and roll?
Right, so our key performance indicator is based on the number of students at or above the 50th percentile for both literacy and math. In terms of math, after the winter assessment and STAR, we've met our goal of 45%. Actually, it's 40% for both reading and math, but we met the math goal. This presentation focuses primarily on what we've been trying to do in literacy. So each grade level and department created their own student learning objectives based on looking at historical data and looking at areas of weakness and growth. So I shared those with you there. I'm not going to go over all of them, but basically I shared data that is linked to the SLO goals for each grade and department, and all growth, some areas larger growth than others. No areas are lagging in terms of like there's no negative growth at all. So if you look all the way down to the evidence piece of the strategies that we've been using in a nutshell, in 6th grade, focusing on phonics instruction, explicit instruction, vocabulary, a mini unit on context clues, scaffolding. The Gentile has really helped that grade with the science of reading. Also looking at small group oral reading sessions at chapter books tailored to a student's grade level. In 7th grade, and this is where I want to focus a little bit more, they have used Oriole time to divide the students to 3 tiers or pathways of student interventions. So Mr. Whitaker does inquiry-based project, is more of an enrichment for students that have met the SLO and are at the literacy level that we feel they need to be. Mr. Smith and Mrs. Bowen, they do 6-minute reading, focused on reading fluency. Mr. Mickey and Mrs. McDowell, who's a special ed teacher, they work on daily interventions, improving the focus on improving fluency and comprehension with a main focus on phonics and vocabulary. So depending on which tier, tier 3 gets phonics, word attack, vocabulary, division rules, comprehension, fluency. Tier 2 gets word attack, vocabulary, division rules. Tier 1 gets figurative language, word choice. So basically what we've done is break down like specific grade level goals that we feel if those are met, then our key performance indicator will be met as well. And they're tied down to classroom strategies as well. So that's in a nutshell what we've done for literacy.
Can you just emphasize how Jen Towell and coaches like her have made differences in your buildings? I mean,
Oh my goodness.
I could probably talk to Dwayne too, and then from Tammy and others, in and Margaret, just kind of, just so the board hears the importance of the coaches.
They work one-on-one with our teachers, and they do some modeling of interventions in the classroom. They like, for example, for Mr. Score, he gets to see Jen Tao teach and do the intervention in the class for the first morning period, and then he models it in the afternoon. And that's how he learns that. Gentile provides like mini lesson units and resources and strategies to all of our grade levels. She's done like 3 PDs or professional development sessions, advanced. It's just very valuable, and it's just like if you're an auto mechanic and you're learning how to change oil, and you have the master mechanic that knows how to do it. It's that type of like, okay, well, I'll show you how to do it, and then you can do it as well, and then eventually you can do it on your own. And that's very valuable for us at Venice.
Thanks, Mike. I know you could all speak on that. I don't know if you want to take just a minute or so to talk about more. I mean, from your.
Yeah, so Margaret Logeman is our reading specialist, and her day is pretty much all student intervention. So she's working with students in small groups, trying to get them caught up. And then Tammy Rademan does a little bit of intervention, but more so she spends time in the coaching space. So for example, when we're talking about building thinking classrooms and putting kids in random groups and getting them up out of their seats, our kindergarten and first grade teachers are like, oh, that's a little, that's a lot. So Tammy might step in and help support that and make sure that, there's an extra set of hands to really kind of launch what that looks like and kind of help with some of the follow through and some of these different things when it comes to like our initiatives.
Do I know if you want to just take a minute?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jen at the high school, this year she really bridged the gap and is getting a lot more involved at the high school level. So she's been a key part of getting some interventions underway in our building. That's been kind of a just topic that hasn't really been addressed at the high school in years past. So this year we have a couple staff that are working side by side with her. And the great thing about Jen is she just leans in and really kind of, lack of a better term, kind of held their hand through that process, because interventions can seem a little overwhelming or scary on the onset, but she's been there helping with the data piece. For me, she helped me and Jillian model with our staff a lot, and I'll speak a little bit to it later, but on how to really implement wording and diving deeper into vocabulary, even just learning targets, being on point with that. So she's guided a little bit of our CT work in the mornings as well at the high school level. And the nice thing is that's been a fairly untapped resource at the high school, and now we're gonna see it pay some huge dividends down the road here, so.
I just want to emphasize and first of all, applaud them because all the work that they do and make it happen for our teams, but their expertise, it's raising us and our students, number one, because it's trickling down through our staff, which is fantastic. And we haven't had that. And I think that centralized laser-like look that we're really approaching and how they're able to address that and assist and help with those specific areas, it's just notching that volume up for all of us. So I really appreciate all of them. So thank you for just sharing a couple minutes about that. BAMS, data, behavior, attendance.
So as you can see up here, we have had 76 minors and 46 majors. Of those 76 are students with 76 minors and students with 46 majors, making up a total of 82 incidents for majors and 141 incidents for minors. Although that sounds like a lot, all of our numbers are actually significantly down from last year. So the total number of students with majors is down 30%, and the total number of students with minors is down just around 17%. When we're seeing those majors and minors are primarily in the classroom, and it's mostly in the defiance, disrespect, disruption kind of categories, what the majority of those compromise. As far as our attendance at BAMS, we are at an attendance rate of 95.85%, which is better than last year at this time, which was 94.10%. So doing some pretty good things here. And I would attribute some of that to this restorative work that we're implementing when students are getting majors in particular, incorporating the reflection as to, why, what you were feeling, who was impacted, and how you're going to make that right.
And Carrie, it says up here 90. I mean, is that, can you tell us why? There's a little bit of
the data that I shared was actually Skyward, because I was informed that EduClimber might not have the most accurate data when it comes to attendance due to some communication.
And I can explain further, but.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Skyward measures attendance differently than EduClimber. Skyward measures the percentage of students that are truant, which means 5 or more unexcused, or if they have 10 or more excused absences. So, right, we have 5% of our students that are either truant technically or have 10 or more absences that are excused. EduClimber, however, measures day-to-day attendance. So if we have 9 periods of the day and a student attends all 9 and they're present, then what happens is that EduClimber takes a daily rate of all the students, and that's the percentage that they. So EduClimber will be a little bit lower because we have students that are leaving for appointments and they come back, but Skyward really doesn't.
So they might be 6 out of the 9.
6 out of the 9.
Change distorts the percentage here.
Yeah, but I think both tools are equally as important to gauge. Because if you have like a 10, 15% difference in EduClimber and Skyward, then that's to be addressed too, you know?
Okay. Thank you. All right, let's shift to high school.
I'm gonna present on behalf of Jillian tonight as well. She had middle school track and she's at a soccer game currently. So she asked if I'd kind of take that torch for her. But as far as activity wise, she surveyed all the students back in early winter. Just get a good base point of where we're at, how many students are engaged. I know the goal is getting towards that upper 70%, 80% range of students engaged in some sort of activity K-12. I believe, I don't want to misspeak, but I believe we were in the low 70s on our first survey on being involved in some piece. So some of the other things too that she's done since that survey, her and Lauren have partnered quite a bit too, talking about different clubs and activities that can maybe take off next fall. But really it's getting the interest from the elementary school and then also then identifying some advisors for that. As far as the middle school, they've added a theater group, as we heard about. They're in the works of adding a 4-H club. Chess club has been implemented, an art club, a middle school soccer club. So we really, I would say this year, a big deep dive is into the middle school and the activities front, getting them a lot more engaged. As far as the high school, we are in the infancy of a video game club or an esports club. Proud winner of a Mario Kart game last Friday, which is really right now it's seeing the high school level, maybe why are you not engaging in activities? Just knowing the sheer volume of multiple sport athletes being involved in activities, and that percentage is actually pretty high at the high school as expected in a high school that size. So now it's honing in on maybe those lagging areas of why they aren't and how we can address that. She's gonna be surveying all students again, K-12 in the next few weeks here, and then continuing to meet with students if they have an interest in starting a club, things like that, connecting them with an advisor and kind of going there. So as far as the activities front, I think it's going great and Jillian's crushing it. So next I'll dive into a little bit of the academics piece for the high school. So as I discussed a little earlier in the year, we took our ACT data on historical trends on that to focus in on word meaning. Word meaning was probably our lowest efficiency on the regard of like the ACT test. The unfortunate thing in the high school, we don't have a ton of data points right now, but as we work through common and uncommon assessments, we'll be able to drill down a little bit better as to maybe more of that. But we were seeking an 8% growth in those areas. We're not doing our end of year assessment until Monday on that. So the timing of this is a little unfortunate, but I'm pretty confident we'll get there. So I'm going to speak a little bit more to what we're doing right now to really build that in. So big piece, I alluded a little bit earlier with Gentile and even Jillian, we really dove in the winter modeling to our staff, what that should look like. If we have learning targets, what's the intentionality to what we're teaching? How are we having students say are proving what we want taught in that lesson? Really just honing in and clarifying what it is we expect you to learn and how I want you to showcase it to me as a student. The other piece we dove into was the vocabulary piece. I mean, the misconception is, and I was pointing out, is it's just throw a bunch of words at them and hope they stick. As opposed to doing that, we followed the science lab big piece with Gentile on that is really, what is the purpose? And the biggest thing we really honed in on is focusing on the context in which we're being exposed to new vocabulary at grade level. So like science is going to focus more on science-specific terminology, physical education, so on and so forth. And then more of our ELA groups and even our special education groups really dove into semantic word maps as well. And what are some synonyms, antonyms, using it correctly in a sentence? What are some alternative meanings of it? And then they've also started hashtagging. So that's something we actually picked up from, we had that ACT support and academic group come in to give kind of a crash course on the ACT test. And that was a huge hit with our students on what is that? Like you read something, hashtag it. So like, what was your takeaway? So even getting students a hashtag, going like, what did that word mean? And connecting, I mean, we're all glued to these, social media, things like that. And that's been a resounding kind of just sticking point with our students. So how we're making sure a lot of fidelity checks in classrooms as I go in. Jillian's also an evaluator in our building. When we're going in, we're looking for clear learning targets, how you're measuring that target, and then also you're doing your part with the vocabulary piece. We knew making that SLO, it's a 2-year journey at a minimum. So next year we'll have a continuation of that vocabulary goal in our building, just because this year too, the timing, we didn't really get a full year of pushing that forward. It was closer to mid-year when we settled on an SLO, just with the data we had at hand. And then next year also begins kind of the journey with our uncommon assessments as well. So that's really a deep dive on. Any questions on that? Gary, take it over.
In regards to the high school behavior report, right now we have 58 students that make up 101 incidents for majors. And that is actually down by 32% from last year. And then for our minors, we have 82% or 82 students that make up 155 incidents. Although the incidence is lower, the number of incidents are lower, the number of students has increased by about 20% or so, or a little bit more than 20%. And so I think part of that too is this year, we incorporated that teachers are actually writing their own minors, entering them on their own, where before they would fill out a form and then Ms. Flood or myself would enter those in, and now they enter them directly into EduClimber themselves. So that's a bit of a change. So that could be why. We also are seeing, again, at the high school, defiance and disrespect is the majority of what the majors are. And actually the same thing for minors. And then second to that is academic dishonesty for minors. As far as our attendance rate, so far in Skyward, for the present days, our attendance rate, we're at 91.44%, which is up from last year at this time, which was 89.89%. So another positive for us at the high school, similar to the BAMs.
You say academic dishonesty, what kind of things are you seeing there?
So a couple things. Sometimes we're seeing students maybe using like an AI generated document to prepare an essay or something like that, or they're using their phone in class to look up answers, or they're getting answers from other students' papers. That's primarily what we see when it comes to academic dishonesty.
And the AI piece is one we started diving into as well because it's new. It's a tool that you think you can leverage, but we've talked with staff a little bit too, and they're starting to really, what is the purpose of AI? It can be a great tool for us, but also how do we use that appropriately? So that's some work we kind of created on the fly this year too, because as AI is coming to light, we weren't really sure what the impact would be out of the gate, but I would say those were a little more frequent probably first semester as opposed to now, as our staff have leaned into like, hey, this is one way to leverage it to help guide your work as opposed to do your work. But that's an animal we'll continue to attack as AI continues to grow more and more prominent.
One tool that staff can use now if students are turning in papers on, Google Docs, is through Brisk, another AI service that can read whether or not that student took stuff from either the internet and just copied and pasted, or actually generated from AI services. So teachers are going to be able to actually look at, and it'll automatically check the document to see whether or not there was any kind of academic integrity not happening in that area, to teach and reteach that moment as well. And also, you can see how much time it took them to generate that paragraph, or even that. So if it was like 10 seconds, I'm sorry, we don't have any, I don't think typists that fast yet, but they have that. You can see exactly the amount of time it took so they can see the work through. Yeah. All right, Chris, you want to bring us home?
Well, our special education department has been working really hard. We have the goal of having 25% of our students with disabilities in grades 1 through 12 at or above reading proficiency as measured by the STAR assessment. I don't have any updated data to share with you. As you've heard, all of our testing is going to be in coming weeks. But I thought I'd share some updates with you and then some celebrations. So at FLC, our special ed team, I'm going to use their names. They've done a lot of work. Elena Thompson, Catherine Larson, Lindsay Petrowski, Terry Brady, Jenna Gray, and Savannah Thomas. They are all using a variety of reading interventions with their students, such as Heggerty, Barton, LLI, Passport, Foundations of Sound, Sound Partners, RISE, Lexia. It's a long list, and they're seeing some really nice progress with their students, and they anticipate even more growth from winter to spring. So we're excited about that. And then at bands, and Mike, you touched on some of this, Stacia Weber teaches our 6th grade special education students. She's using a small group oral reading of chapter books at the group's instructional level. And they've increased their STAR scores from a minimum of 20 points from September to January, and she's anticipating more growth there as well. So that's really exciting. Sarah McDowell, she works with our 7th grade special education students, and she's using the rewards program and the test of word reading efficiency. So we're in the world of acronyms in special ed, and we have acronyms for our interventions too. But they're really good. They're working on phonemic decoding and sight word efficiency. And the majority of her students too are making really good gains. So we're excited about that. And then Molly Gretz works with our 8th grade special education students. She teaches a specially designed communication skills class for 2 of her 8th grade students. And this class, they work at a slower pace for the readings, the writings, and the vocab. And one of her students jumped 40 points on their STAR from fall to winter. So that's a huge jump. Another jumped 136 points from fall to winter on the STAR assessment. So very excited about that. And then at Horace Mann, Heather Myers, she works with our bridge students. She uses Barton, Reading Plus, classroom instruction. She has novel studies, works on fluency, comprehension, as well as vocab. She has 7 students participating in reading interventions, and all 7 have grown from January to March, and 6 have demonstrated exponential growth. So it works. It's pretty exciting. And then we have a couple of our aides at the high school level, Tammy Keller and Michelle Kirk, are also using interventions with students. They're using Barton and Heggerty, and they're seeing some great gains too. And there's lots more work being done, but that just kind of gives you a snapshot overall that it's happening. And Jen Towell, a big shout out to her too. She's been very instrumental in helping guide some of those interventions. And Elena Thompson has done a great job with the academic team at FLC and leading. She's going to be our new program support teacher next year in that role. And we'd like to see her tracking those interventions across the district from FLC to BAMS to Horace Mann. So we're moving in a good direction.
Questions for Chris at this point? Any other questions for overall for the group? All right, I want to say thank you, because I mean, you're seeing some of what's under the hood, but it's only a little bit of what they do on the daily, and the work that we're doing, the work we're working towards, that's what we want, and I see it happening, and I'm appreciative of the work that y'all putting in to make that happen. So
I would just echo that too. I read through all the detail you guys sent us, and it's clear there's a lot of work going on, and I don't think anybody's where we want to be, of course, but we're on the right track. We're starting to gather data. We're starting to measure ourselves. And just reading through what you guys put together, it's clear you got a plan and you're moving forward. So from my point of view, it's really rewarding to see that, and compliment you guys and appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Moving forward, I'm just going to touch on this really briefly. Safe and emotional health of schools. And just another item I didn't put on here, but Panorama. We just are going through our window right now of surveying our students again for the 2nd time this year. So we're going to get a second data point to be able to
work off of now. So we're excited about seeing that. And I think we're almost all the way through with that. We're like in a 90 something percentile right now to get them all in. So excited to see that. We are also, as one of our KPIs from our strategic planning groups, they're working on staff wellness and how our staff are doing on the regular. So they're dropping a survey starting tomorrow and then Thursday, well, just for staff on safe, emotional, healthy, mental health and other areas. So just for y'all, more to come, but wanted to give you a heads up that that's going on right now too. And that's really good stuff. The next part, engagement and communications, just for everybody, there is a board position that is now open. And starting tomorrow, there's going to be an application available for the village and for the community to fill out if they're interested in taking this board position that is open right now currently. If people are interested in this, they have until Wednesday, May 1st by 4 p.m. to fill out the application that will be available on Facebook and other facets and at the district office if you want to come pick this up so that they can fill that out, turn that in. There are some basic questions, but also there's applicant questions that we want people to answer if they're so interested in this position. Finally, there will be a special board meeting on May 6th, which interviews will take place starting at 5:30 for candidates who qualify for that process. So we will have more to come on that within the applications that are turned in. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that board position and the application will start going out tomorrow. Okay. Graduation reminder, May 23rd. It's coming before we know it. I mean, you just heard some of the mini announcements. I think there's I don't know how many. I don't know if there's an open night from now until the end. But as soon as we hit May, it is nonstop, and it's a great thing. So please, we can get you some more schedule of all those just to keep track of the concerts, the honors nights, the different celebrations. They're really great to get to and be part of. Referendum wise, again, we're way ahead of schedule. We just got to, again, I want to shout out big kudos to the BAM staff throughout this, and I think we've mentioned this before. We had to go to 7th grade way back in January, and we said, hey, can we move you to another place in this building because we need to get stuff started here? Is that possible? They all said, yes, we can do that. A couple weeks later, a month later, we had to go to the 8th grade and say, hey, can we move a few of you to get some more stuff going so that we can go, we're ahead of schedule, they're going. Today, we went to the 6th grade and we said, can we move you? And they said yes, and they understood that. And from the conversations that we've had with C.D. Smith and others, because of these moves and because of these transitions and people being flexible and moving it, we're looking at middle of July / end of July by completion of a lot of these projects. So it is such a big gain that we could have and be ready by August, and we're not up into that last minute, but most of the outside work is done. Almost everything's paved. The brick is all up. We're in a really, really good position. We're very blessed that we have that. I've talked to several other districts that are not in that same frame, and we just happen to be riding that same wave. We hit the wave at the right time, and we've just been riding it all the way through. We're not going to stop. We want to keep that going. And again, thanks to BAM staff, especially the 6th grade, who've now stepped up and said, yeah, we'll do one more move for you. That's a big deal. So we can't be more thankful for our people and for all that they've done in that area. Any questions about referenda at all right now with that? Okay. And then future board agenda items, staff appreciations right around the corner, early May. We're calibrating and figuring out how we can best do that for everyone. We'll give you a little bit of a staffing update. We'll talk Oriole Outfitters used to come in at that time to share their end game for the year and their summary. We'll talk about some of the scholarship winners during that time as well. And that concludes my report. Any questions? Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, our next item, new business. We have 3 items to work through today. The first one is to consider approval to move the regular scheduled Board of Education meeting from May 27th, which is Memorial Day, up 1 week to May 20th. So first, any questions before we make a motion to make that change?
You guys don't want to stick around.
Yeah.
Please fly, please fly. Need to go. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.
That didn't take long.
Yeah.
You're like, chair.
You're like, you know what?
Good night, everybody. Good night.
We did take you up on staying.
Yeah.
The reconsideration.
All right, then we'll look for motion to approve the moving of our meeting to May 20th.
So moved. Or second.
Leader, yes. Matthew?
Yes.
Hack?
Yes.
And Geckler?
Yes. All right. Our next item is to consider approval of resignations and new hires during closed session. So we have 3 resignations to approve, and I think we'll do it probably resignations, and then we'll do 2 motions. Could it go together? And we'll go, do you have it as one or?
As one.
Okay, we'll go through both. So the resignations are Jenna Bray, Dan Sitter, and Amy Martin. So just, with any resignation, we appreciate their service and, their continued efforts here within the district. And then our new hires that we have coming on board are Carly Lamb and Jennifer Zerbel.
Yep.
2 new hires that are both at FLC, right?
Correct.
So any questions other than what we already discussed in closed session? All right, then we'll just look for, go ahead. Do you have something?
Oh, no.
Okay, look for approval for both the resignations and the new hires. Our motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
And then roll call.
Hack?
Yes.
Matthew?
Yes.
Eager? Yes. Geckler?
Yes. All right. And then our final one is appoint board committee members if needed. I think previous year, the WASB delegate.
Yeah, I think every year.
Yeah.
Which is fun. I enjoy it.
So,
8 hours of, I'm joking.
yeah, so
It sometimes can be.
Oh, yeah.
assuming you'd like to continue.
Sure, if you have me, I call it a labor of love,
Yeah.
so.
Love away. No, we appreciate it. And, yeah, so, and then the next one is a CISA 6 representative.
That's me.
That was, again,
Fine doing it.
okay. And then our deputy clerk, which would,
That's usually the superintendent.
superintendent.
Okay. We've done over all 30 years, I think.
Okay.
In case, just in case the clerk's not available in an emergency situation.
Okay.
So.
Got it.
And then our standing policy committee,
I was part of that.
Terry's part of that. Think we should have, if someone else would be interested in joining the policy committee. Question is that when we do have a new member join, can we bring this maybe back up as well? Should we bench this one till
I
next
think we
month?
should mention until that next time, see if any.
Just to make sure
Personal
that everyone
one.
has an opportunity to raise their hand? Okay. So, so that one would be off the policy committee. Or we can bring it, can we bring it back again? Like if, because Terry, if you're still interested, we can keep you on there for today and then reopen it.
Yeah, the officer positions are the only thing that are required to do at this meeting.
At this meeting,
the
okay.
reorganization meeting. So maybe too, when we do that, we kind of talk about the format of the policy committee. I don't know if you notice, I didn't come to them because I wasn't a member.
Yeah.
And I thought, if we're all gonna come to them, then maybe we don't even need a committee. We do a
Sure,
committee of
yeah.
the whole on policy or just a regular board meeting, but
Okay.
I'm fine. I'm not trying to exclude anybody or that,
Yeah.
but, so we can talk.
I think we
about
can, yeah, let's definitely add that to our
Discussion,
agenda for May meeting. So our action would be, do we have,
that.
appointment, just, we don't have
The
action.
President appoints these positions.
All right.
so.
So then, the appointment for, the items we just discussed, WASP delegate, Steve Hawks, CISA 6 representative, Nick Matthew, deputy clerk, Dr. Reno, And coming back, Terry Yeager for our current standing policy committee, and we'll come back to it again in May. Awesome. We don't have to go back to close, so we're adjourned at 8:30 PM. I thank everyone for tonight.
Good night, Orioles. Have a great one.